Hi, I'm professional sports handicapper Ross Benjamin, reporting for the Offshore Gaming Association. That's OSGA.com, your number one source for information on the offshore sportsbook industry. That's OSGA.com. It's Saturday, September 14th, and I have three NFL free picks on Sunday, September 15th card. Keep in mind, folks, as I am recording one day earlier than these games are set to begin, and these games are all subject to line changes depending on when you view the videos. Before I get to the three free picks, I just want to remind you folks, I appreciate all the subscribers that we've amassed over the last 3 months, and especially over the last week. We've had over 500 new subscribers. That's what keeps these videos alive, folks. To subscribe to the OSGA YouTube channel, it's absolutely free, and we would encourage you to do so, and certainly would appreciate if you would do so by just clicking that subscribe button right below this video. It's what keeps us alive here. There's no ulterior motive. We'll never ask you to be obligated to give us money to view these videos, and also there's no hidden agenda. So that's just hit that subscribe button below. Certainly would appreciate it. Keeps us rolling going forward, and you'll be notified immediately upon me releasing any future videos. Let's get right to the games. Let's start with the game between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Giants at the Meadowlands in New Jersey, 1 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. Currently, as we speak, the Buffalo Bills are a 2-point favorite at Heritage. Real oddity here, as the Bills opened last week against the Jets on the road, and now they go on the road to face the Giants. The oddity being they're playing in the same stadium on the road in back-to-back weeks at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Having said all that, the Giants are coming off a terrible 35-17 loss in their season opener at Dallas. A lot of people are making, I should say, Giants fans are looking at the positive here, as the G-men did rack up over 400 yards of total offense against what's perceived to be a very good Dallas defense. But the flip side to that is Dallas racked up almost 500 yards of total offense in this game. And here's another thing to keep in mind, folks. Since 2017, in the first 8 games of the season, the Giants have gone 0-8 straight up in ATS in those first half games, and they've lost those contests by 14.7 points a game. Let me repeat that again. It's 0-8 straight up in ATS at home in the first 8 games of the season for the Giants over the last 2 years, and they lost those 8 contests by 14.7 points per game. The Bills, on the other hand, they overcame a 16-0 second half deficit last week against the Jets to pull out a 17-16 win. They won that game despite 4 first half turnovers. The Bills' defense was absolutely outstanding, holding the Jets to just 223 yards of total offense. They sacked Sam Darnold 4 times. This is also a defense, remember, folks, no fluke here, because they were number 2 in total defense last season, and they were also number 1 against the pass last year. So Eli Manning will be hard-pressed to top the 300 yards passing he had against Dallas last week. The Bills' offense, not too bad either. They made a lot of improvements in the offseason. If not for those 4 first half turnovers, I think we would have saw probably another 6 to 13 points being scored by the Bills. They accumulated 370 yards of total offense. Josh Allen with a horrible first half in which he gave away 2 fumbles and threw 2 picks, one which went for an interception. But keep in mind, folks, one of the fumbles was a bad snap from center, and both interceptions were a result of tip passes by his own receivers, or I should say tip passes. So again, not all on Josh Allen, a little bit of bad luck. His perseverance, his character, and his strong will, though. Allen, in the fourth quarter of last week's game with the Bills trailing 16-3, led touchdown drives of 80 and 85 yards, and he went 8 for 10 for 102 yards with a passing TD and a rushing TD to lead that comeback for the Bills and get them off to a 1-0 start. At the end of the day, the Bills are the better team in this matchup. That doesn't always mean better teams don't always win, especially when you're talking about playing back-to-back away games and coming off a win on the road. But you know what? I got this. My instincts tell me here the Bills are the play in this game. I'm going to take the Bills here, -2 at the Giants. Second game, the San Francisco 49ers travel to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. This will be the 49ers' second straight week in which they're on the road and second straight trip to the East Coast time zone. 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time start. The Bengals are currently a pick at bookmaker. San Francisco's coming off a 31-17 win in their season opener at Tampa Bay, and they were beneficiaries of two Jameis Winston interceptions that were returned for touchdowns. And other than that, their offense wasn't that good last week against Tampa Bay. As a matter of fact, the 49ers had just 256 yards of total offense in that win. Cincinnati is coming off a 21-20 loss at Seattle in a game that was surprisingly closer than a lot of people anticipated. Seattle, one of the favorites in the NFC this year. Cincinnati's expected to be coming in looking like it's going to be a long season, but they looked anything but the part there, as Andy Dalton was just absolutely phenomenal against a very good Seattle defense, going 35 for 51 for 418 yards last week. And the Bengals defense sacked the ever-elusive Russell Wilson 4 times. I like the Bengals here as a pick-em against the San Francisco 49ers. Last game, a much anticipated matchup, is the New Orleans Saints travel to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Right now, as we speak, the Rams are -1.5 favorite at 5 dimes. This is the rematch of last year's NFC Championship game, in which we saw that controversial non-call on an obvious pass interference that cost the Rams a trip to the Super Bowl, or excuse me, the Saints a trip to the Super Bowl. A lot of people will make a lot about the revenge factor in this game. I'm not so caught up with that. What I'm looking at here, you're looking at a Rams team that went 7-1 at home last year. Yes, the Saints went 7-1 on the road. Something must give in that regard. But the point being is, when you're only laying 1.5 at a strong home field, you have to consider that in terms of betting value. New Orleans is coming off a 30-28 home win last Monday night against Houston, in which they needed a 58-yard field goal from Kyle Forbath with just no time, I should say, remaining on the clock. It was the last play of regulation time. That was a game the Saints, from start to finish, were never covering as a 7.5-point favorite. The LA Rams last week racked up 166 yards rushing in their 30-27 win at Carolina, in which they covered as a 2-point favorite. And the Rams defense, much better compared to the Saints defense in this matchup. And let's not forget, New Orleans, speaking of their defense, they allowed 180 yards rushing against a Houston Texans team with a revamped offensive line. And the Rams certainly have a better offensive line in Houston. And like I alluded to, they ran for $166 last week in their win at Carolina. I'm going to take the Rams here, -1.5 against the Saints. Repeating again, the Buffalo Bills -2, excuse me, at the Giants. The Cincinnati Bengals as a pick against the San Francisco 49ers, and the LA Rams at home -2 over the New Orleans Saints. I'd like to remind you folks, you can visit my website as well. That's rbwins.com. Right now, my football paid selections, those are my best picks, the games I wager the most money on. My paying clients are having a field day so far in the first 2 weeks of college football and the first week in the NFL. As a matter of fact, I'm a combined 14-5 with my NFL and college football paid selections, and that includes going 11 and 1 with my last 12, 6 and 1 in the NFL. I lost the opening Thursday night game with Chicago against Green Bay, and then I rebounded on Sunday and Monday to go a perfect 6 and 0. I should say Sunday, Monday, and this past Thursday to go 6 and 0 with my last 6 NFL picks. That's rbwins.com, where you pay a little to make a lot. Until the next time, good luck with all your picks. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, folks.